Good morning. Okay, good morning. Yes. So for your information, so we got a class today, Ajax class at the rate 8 p.m. Central Time. So use the other meeting link which I gave you people. Okay. So I mailed you people a meeting link, right? Use that meeting link. And one more thing, even yesterday morning we had a class. I hope you people know that. Have informed you people. So in that class, I've discussed about JavaScript. So we saw JavaScript programming and all, and I've just introduced Ajax in that class. So the record is available. You can go through it. It was 3 hours class or so. Even today we have a class in the evening for Ajax. Okay. Please use the other meeting link, which I've mailed you people. Again, once again, I'll send you people a mail also. Okay. Yes. Fine. Okay. Yes, Vani, I've just announced the timing. Hi, good morning. So we got a class today evening, Ajax class today evening at 8 p.m. Central Time. So this is the
Oh,
continuation class of the weekend special class, okay? That
yeah,
JavaScript which we discussed. So we'll have Ajax. Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Okay. Fine.
Oh, oh,
Thank you. Naveen, hope you got the mail regarding the JavaScript class, right?
Yes, actually.
Okay, fine. Yeah, so we got a class today evening at 8 p.m. Central Time, Jack's class. So just use that other meeting link, not this meeting link, to join the class. Okay, let's start. So we'll talk about Hibernate caching. So what is this caching? Caching, you'll find that it is used to to maintain a local copy of a database record which is fetched from the maintain a local copy of record which is fetched from the database server. And that is what we do with the caching. Generally the most common requirement is fetching the records from the database server. So after fetching the record, the application will use it. Sometimes you'll find that the same record will be fetched repeatedly. The same record will be fetched repeatedly. See, each time to fetch the record, we need to the Hibernate also internally it has to establish the connection, construct the query, execute the query, fetch that record, transform it into object, and it returns that object, right? So this is a process, a quite lengthy process itself to fetch the record. So which will take a considerable amount of time. Even though if you are supposed to fetch the same record repeatedly, every time you have to follow the same process. So, but you see here, what if we can, you know, uh, maintain a local copy of that record which is fetched. You see, after fetching the record, it will be transformed into an object, right? So if we can maintain that copy of that record in the memory close to the application, so that if the application, if it requires that record, instead of fetching it from the database server, instead of fetching it from the database server, you see, we can simply read it from the memory and return it to the application. That is what the Hibernate does. Okay, Hibernate has got that caching support. You'll find that Hibernate has got that caching support. Yes. So you will find that when we talk about cache in Hibernate, you have two types of cache. You got two different types of cache here. So already we have discussed about one type of cache. So what is it? We have discussed about one type of cache, right? First level cache. Yes, or it is also known as persistence context. Persistence context. You know, the purpose of this cache is quite different. The purpose of this cache is quite different, I can say. You know, this cache, first level cache, you'll find that it helps the session to manage the persistent objects. It helps the session to manage the persistent objects. So basically, it will maintain the state of the persistent objects. It will update that state once the transaction commits. You know that. So we have discussed about it. It manages. Hibernate uses this first level cache to manage Hibernate's session, I can say, uses first level cache to manage the entity object lifecycle. We saw that, right? Yeah. And first level cache is associated to first level cache is associated to which object of session? Yes, sorry, which object of Hibernate session? First level cache is associated to session. Yes. You'll find that we got second level cache again. You know, second level cache, it is associated to session factory. It is associated to session factory. Yes. Oh, okay, Naveen. I thought mail you. Just could you please send me a test mail from your mail ID once and check once, okay? Okay. So second level cache, you know, it is mainly used for this purpose to maintain a copy of record locally, the database record which is fetched. To maintain a copy of that record locally close to the application, we use second level cache. And you will find that second level cache is associated to session factory. Please make a note of it. second level cache is associated to session factory. So for an application, how many session factory objects you'll have? How many session factory objects are needed for an application? One. So you need one session factory object, okay? So it is enough. A single session factory object is enough throughout the application. You can create any number of sessions. Session factory object is thread safe. Whereas how about session? For each transaction, okay, in order to execute a transaction, for each and every transaction, we need a session factory, sorry, session object. Okay, for every transaction, you need a session object. Yes, and for every session, you got a first level cache associated, which is separate. So that is what you need to understand. So for each session, for each transaction, you have a persistence context associated. Okay, for the whole application, there will be only one second level cache, I can say. For the whole application, you got one second level cache. Yes. Okay. Yes. So the most important advantage of second level cache is to avoid the DB interactions, number of DB interactions. So second level cache is used to maintain a local copy of database record close to the application. Second level cache is associated to session factory, and second level cache helps to reduce the number of DB interactions. Sorry. So there is one criticism, there is one drawback for Hibernate. You know that? What is the drawback of Hibernate? You know the limitation of Hibernate. Generally, people come when they compare Hibernate with JDBC, they say there is one issue. What is it? Compared to JDBC, Hibernate is considered as little slow. So why it is slow? That means the time, you see, for the DB interactions is considered as little slow. So why so? Yes. because you see Hibernate, it adds an additional layer, I can say. For suppose you'll write a, actually you see, you'll write a HQL query. That HQL query, will it directly execute in the database server? No, right? So first of all, that query has to be transformed into SQL query. See, Hibernate, I can say that it adds a layer, additional layer. So compared to JDBC, which may cause the performance, the performance can be affected because of this. Now, Hibernate won't directly interact with the database server, am I right? So what it does, Hibernate, actually it uses JDBC API. Hibernate it is actually built on top of JDBC API, right? So we got one additional layer if you use Hibernate. So compared to JDBC, that's the reason why Hibernate is considered as little slow. Even the queries and all, they have to be transformed, then only you can execute them in the database server. But you see that limitation or drawback, basically we can overcome that limitation or drawback with, to some extent we can overcome it with caching. Okay, yes, we can overcome that limitation or issue with caching. So you see, but one more thing, you know, one answer is we can say that yes, we can some to some extent we can overcome that issue through caching in Hibernate. And one more thing, you see, compared to the advantages of features, advantages of Hibernate with JDBC, that limitation, I can say that we can just ignore it. Yes, you know, for the large applications, it would be too difficult to manage, or you know, if you got a complex database schema and all, it will be very difficult to manage that schemas and all using JDBC. You need something like Hibernate itself. For small applications, maybe you can go with JDBC, but for large applications, you have to use Hibernate frameworks like Hibernate, which will help us to manage these complex schemas. Otherwise, it will be difficult. Okay, it will be too complicated for us. So, considering the advantages of Hibernate, you see this issue, we can ignore it. Yes, it's a trade-off, I can say. And also, as I told you, people, we get crashing and all, so which will help us to improvise performance as well. Yes, if someone asks you this question, that limitation, now you can just justify that answer. Okay, you can just justify that the limitation. See, though we got that limitation, but still Hibernate. You see, for large applications, it helps, and we got caching and all, which helps us to overcome that limitation to some extent. So hope this is clear for you people, right? So any questions? Okay. Now we'll go through the second level cache. You know, when we talk about this cache, I said like you know we can maintain a local copy of that database record which is fetched from the database server. After fetching the record from the database server, we can maintain a copy of that record. But there can be some limitations or issues for this. What is it? Can you people tell me? If you cache a record, there can be limitation. So what is the limitation of the caching? Can you people tell me? Size. There is one more limitation, not size. You see, yeah, if you are caching a record, for suppose you have, let's say, Hibernate has fetched a record and it is caching that record. That means now in the cache you got a copy of that record. You got that original record in the database server, of course. You got that original record in the database server. Now here in the cache you got a copy of that record. For suppose what if that copy of the record which is in the database server is modified? What if that record is modified in the database server? Yes. So in that case, now in the cache we don't have a fresh copy of that record. We don't have that updated record, right? That can be an issue with caching. Okay, so hope you people got it. So how can we address this issue and all? So you see, Hibernate, that when you're caching a record, time to time you have to check for that record, make sure that you got the latest copy of that record. That is one option. Now you see, are we supposed to implement this second level cache on our own, or by default you got that cache implementation in the database server, sorry, in the Hibernate? Does Hibernate provides the cache implementations? Are we supposed to write the code to implement that cache? I can say that we don't have to write any code to implement that cache. You got several cache implementations readily available. You got several cache implementations which are readily available. You can make use of them. Okay, so you have third-party cache implementations not provided by Hibernate. Okay, but Hibernate supports this cache implementations. Okay, third-party cache implementations. So Hibernate, what they did is they didn't provide any second level cache implementation on their own, but yes, they just left it to others. Now anyone can implement that second level cache. Anyone can implement that second level cache. Hibernate provides that support to use a third party cache implementation. And you got several popular cache implementations here. Like we got EH cache, OS cache. OS means Open Symphony, Swam cache, and JBoss tree cache. These are all open source cache implementations. These are all open source cache implementations. You know, there are companies who provide customized cache implementations means that implementations, they will be specific to your application or business requirements. For a particular business you got some specific requirements, so you can go to these people. They will provide you the cache according to your requirements. They can provide you the cache as per your requirements. Yes, so they are commercial cache implementations, I can say. They are known as commercial cache implementations. Okay, so you know what, here I'm going to show you people eh cache. cache. So other cache implementations I'll leave with you people, but cache is widely used. You know what? If you say that, okay, I've used cache and I know only cache, that is not at all a problem. Okay, people will happily accept it. People don't expect you to work with all the cache implementations. Okay, you can say that, okay, in our project we have only used cache. That's it. Okay, yes, fine. So let's talk about this cache. So cache is provided by an open source community here called cache itself. First of all, if you want to use this cache, you need to add the libraries related to this cache to your project. Sorry, just a minute. Let me load the ID. Okay, so if you want to enable or if you want to use cache, just a minute. First of all, you see, you have to add the libraries. So you have downloaded Hibernate libraries, right? As part of that Hibernate libraries, see, you have the lib folder, right? You get a zip file, you extract it. So if you extract that zip file, so you should see optionals, optional. Okay, in that extracted folder you have lib folder, right? In the extracted folder you got lib folder. So in that lib folder you should see optional. As of now, so far what we did, We have added that libraries or jars from the required folder. So far we have added the libraries from the required folder, right? So, but this time you see, we'll add the libraries from the optional folder. In the optional, you should see EH cache. Under the EH cache, you have this jars. Okay, so you can add this jars here. So these are all related to, these are all the jars related to your EH cache. Yes. Okay. So after adding this jars, the next thing what you need to do is you need to enable second level cache. Enable second level cache. Let me show you people how to enable second level cache. Just a second. So to the Hibernate configuration file, you add this properties. First of all, this is the important property which helps you to enable second level cache. So that is the most important property, which is used to enable second level cache. Yeah. Next, you know, by default, the records which are fetched by executing a query. Generally, we fetch the records using a query, right? By writing a query. So, you know, the records which are fetched as a result of executing the query, they are not cached. So, you have to enable this. Okay. Yes. So, you have to make sure that you enable this cache. Sorry, enable this query cache so that the records which are fetched as a result of executing a query, they are cached. Yes. Next, now we want to use EH cache, right? Yes. If you want to use EH cache, then you need to add this property. this is the value which you need to assign. Hibernate cache region factory class net dot sf dot eh cache hibernate dot eh cache region factory. Yes. So are you people done making a note of it? Okay. So these are the three properties which you need to add. You see, if you're using some other cache, then this property value can be different. Okay. Okay. That property value may change. Next, here, if you want to use eh cache, then you need to add this XML file. I'll show you people. Add it here. So in the source folder, you should add this ehcache.xml file. I'll talk about it. Now, you know, you need to configure the details about the entity objects which you want to cache. Which entity objects you want to cache. Okay, which entity objects you want to cache. The details you need to configure them. Just a second. For example, let's say I would like to cache some objects. For example, let's say I would like to cache item objects. Okay, I would like to cache item objects. So what you'll do is here, just add this annotation on top of this entity class, item entity class. Cache usage, let's say read only. Yes, you see, we are talking about the case study for the online shop. In the online shop, now what is the nature of operation we perform on the item objects? Not we in the sense the customers, or the most common operation which is performed on the item objects. What is it? So reading of which or reading that item. So customers will be just a second. Sorry. Customers will be always browsing through the records. They will be fetching the records, right? So you see, it is important to specify that usage, how we use this object generally in the application, how the item object is used. Okay, so it helps the cache to maintain this objects. You see, if it is configured as read only, then you will find that hibernate cache, that cache what it does after loading that object, you need not bother about that object, right? Because that object is read only. So the application is never going to update or modify that object, right? The application is never going to modify that object. Yes, yes. So this way it helps the cache. You got read write, read only. Read write is there. Read write means, so this object is read and also modified frequently. Okay. So if you specify this details, then what happens now? This time Hibernate understands that okay, this object is frequently modified. This object is frequently modified. Yes, because this object is frequently modified, so it will check that object state with the database server as well, and it will also make sure that it updates it accordingly. It updates it accordingly. So this way, if you specify that usage details, cache will understand how to maintain that object. Okay. So next, you have non-strict read write. That means it may be frequently, it is not frequently modified or updated. Rarely it is done. Next, we got transactional. Transactional means, can you people tell me? Transactional means, transactional means you'll find that this object, it, there is a possibility that it can be modified by more than one transaction at a time, concurrency. So in the last class we were talking about it, right? Okay. Sorry. So, but not all caches will support this transactions. Yes. So, but JBoss tree cache is there, na? So it supports transactions. That means if more than one transaction operates on this object, if more than one transaction operates on this object, it will make sure that the isolation issues will not take place. It will make sure that the isolation issues will not take place. So hope we remember isolation issues. right? So what are the isolation issues? Just list down them. That's it. Don't want any explanation. Just list down the isolation issues. Yes. Lost update. No, no, that is isolation level. Isolation issues are lost update, dirty read, unrepeatable read, and phantom read. Okay. And you got isolation levels to address these issues. So, okay, this way we can specify the strategies, usage strategy here, how that object is used, so that the cache can accordingly maintain that object. I'm sorry. So that is what happens. Yes. So once you're done setting this, now you see you can similarly configure the other objects, the usage of that objects accordingly. Okay. Yes. The last thing is you need to understand this XML file, ehcache.xml file. Okay. Yeah. So ehcache.xml file. So if you understand this file, you will be able to understand that caching easily. Yes. Okay. But please excuse me today. So I'm unable to speak for long hours. Today, just my voice, my throat also. I got some problem with it, sore throat. So we'll meet in the evening. Hope by morning I'll be able to regain my voice. Okay, so I'll stop it here today. So we'll meet in the evening again today at 8 p.m. Central Time. Naveen, I'll mail you the meeting link. Others already, I guess, hope you got that meeting link. Special class weekend, special class meeting link. Try to use it to join that Ajax class. Okay, try to use it to join the Ajax class. Okay, yeah. So I'll stop it. So let's meet in the evening again. Thank you all. Bye bye. Bye bye.